inadequate policies, poor absorption mechanisms and capacities, and lack of proper prioritization have been identified as some of the major impediments holding back proper and balanced governance and remittance of adequate climate financing to Africa. These according to the Global Climate Business Summit, which has convened in Nairobi to gauge the level of climate financing commitment on the continent. The conference is running for 2 days and will make recommendations on how to improve financing for Kenya and other countries across the region.
According to the summit, Africa as a whole attracted just $29.5 billion towards funding the fight against the climate change. This means that the continent continues to bear a disproportionate burden from the challenges created by climate change, as this amount is just 11% of what is required. The European House of Ambrosetti, who co-hosted the Climate Change Global Business Summit in Nairobi, notes that the key obstacle to progress notes include financial constraints, weak governance structures, limited technical expertise, and unclear and inconsistent data.
Africa represents at least 70% of the entire fund. We will be supporting projects in the public sector as well in the private sector. Thematic themes include, for example, food resilience, but also sustainable infrastructure, among which e-transport, of course, water projects, supporting economic development across the continent.
Kenya has been one of the many countries scrambling to create an adequate infrastructure to receive the climate change cash. This is still a lot of work to be done, though, as the country attracted just 28% of all mapped capital flows.
And when it comes to Kenya specifically, we were able to understand and to map that a very high portion of this financing has been allocated to Kenya. It was about 28%, meaning 7 billion.
Until lasting solutions are found, though, the continent will continue to lag behind the rest of the world in adoption of critical technology and interventions, with the private sector playing the never-increasing role in the fight.
Lots of commitments have been made by DHL, probably most notably the fact that by 2050 we want to be carbon neutral. And we've also committed to certain targets by 2030. Now, like anything in life, those commitments requires an investment. And globally, we've committed 7 billion euros to sustainable aviation fuels.
African policy measures align with the Paris Agreement and the African Union Climate Change Strategy. However, inconsistent implementations due to lack of financial gaps, lack of critical skills, and lack of coordinated governance remain a hurdle. Sophia Ali for KTN News.
All right, let's talk matters youth in Africa. The Africa Youth Employment Clock, a fast